Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right, we have the Anoto, and this is the Cult Pens exclusive. And this was the 2021 Christmas Carol. We have an Anoto Christmas Carol, and this is the 2022 edition. We have an Anoto, and this is the Magna Classic in the Chased Amber. We have an Anoto, and this is the British Museum's Great Court Resin. We have a Anoto, and this is the Platinum Jubilee Overlay. And this is the Mr. Cyprus, and this is the Maple in the Forest. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01, a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A, a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06, and a Mr. Cypress, and this is the Raden Dragon. So I think let's look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this is a really beautiful pen. It's the Anoto, and this was actually designed after one of the earlier Anotos, I think maybe 2020 or 2019. So this is the Christmas Carol, but it's a Cult Pens exclusive, and the original one was done in this lovely pattern, but it was a green gilded color, and this is more of a yellow gold color. But you can really see that this has the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol there. Very, very nice looking pen. I picked this up this year actually from Cult Pens, and I really like the look of it. I picked it up in the summer sale. I got it with a steel nib, not a gold nib, and reason being that the steel nib I worked out was going to be cheaper to buy it with the steel nib and then upgrade to a gold nib later than actually buying the gold nib version. So I bought it with a steel nib, and you can see here, this is inked up. It's got a lot of shimmer in there. But I've got the number 7 size nib, and this is, I believe, a broad nib, and I'm just trying to have a look. I think it's a broad, yeah. But it's a really nice pen. It is a cartridge converter, and I will show you here so you can see all of that shimmer there. It is a really good writer, and to be honest, I'm happy to put shimmer in because it is a broad nib, and it writes nice and broad, and this shimmer actually goes quite well with it. So I have that one inked up today. The next pen I also picked up this year, and it was this one. And funny story about this. I met up with Feng at Anoto to buy a couple of other pens from him, and I said to him, you know what, I really wish I had the Christmas Carol 2022. And he said, funny you should say that, because I actually have a prototype left. Yeah, you don't want to ask those questions. So a little bit later in the year, this was at the London Pen Show. I picked this one up, and I have to say I am in awe with it. So it is a prototype. So you will see here, if I can get it to focus here, 00 of 22. But it's got the same pattern as this one does, the Christmas Carol 2021. But it's got this beautiful green diffusion bonded acrylic, and I really, really do like this pen. So this one I did get with a medium 18 karat gold nib, so number 7 size nib from Anoto, and it is a cartridge converter. It's about half full at the moment, and I will be doing a review of this one and also the Anoto, because I've not the Christmas Carol, the Cult Pens one, because I really haven't done any reviews of these new pens yet. I am falling a little bit behind on reviews, unfortunately. I have had a lot of reviews that I've had to record from various sponsors, where those videos are going to be released sort of throughout the next year. But I have also been suffering a lot of back pain, and it's actually stopped me recording. And on top of that, I've had a very busy work cycle as well. So uh, it's been a little bit difficult to sit down and record videos, but I will get some of these recorded. If there are any pens that you want to see a review of quickly or soon, do let me know, because some of these I have recorded reviews on. I just haven't released them yet, and then some I do need to record them. Another pen that I did purchase this year was an Anoto, and this is the Magna Classic in the Chased Amber. I've always loved this amber resin. It always really has spoke to me. It really is a beautiful resin, and I do like the chasing there, that sort of crisscross or hash going around that pen. I do prefer it actually when that chasing is filled with gold or silver, just to make that chasing stand out a little bit more. But I saw this pen, it was secondhand at Izod's, and I decided I would buy this pen. Now, it does come with a medium number 7 nib, size nib. It's a steel nib, and I probably will swap this out eventually for a gold nib. But the ink I've got in here at the moment, I'm really liking, and I'm liking how this pen writes. All of these you can post a cap on, the Anotos, and I am just liking how this writes. So, although I bought this with the intention to upgrade to an 18 karat gold nib, I'm actually finding that maybe I don't need to do that, because that nib just writes perfectly out of the box. The next pen here, again, was another pen that I picked up from Roy at Izod's, and I saw this, and this is a custom version of the Great Roof of the British Museum. So you could almost like call this a prototype. It's one of one, and it is an Anoto. But the difference between this and the production model is that this has gold filled in this museum pattern, and it doesn't have British Museum on the cap band. But I do like this, and you'll see there is no number on this at all. But it was a special edition that was made for somebody that commissioned it. It does have a number 7 size medium steel nib on it. Now, I'm not that keen on how this nib writes, so I probably will swap this one out for an 18 karat gold nib. But you can see there, I've flushed it out recently. I will be inking that back up for today, because I think I wanted to change inks because I didn't like the ink that was in there, that I first put in there. And to be honest, that's quite rare for me, because normally when I pick an ink and put it in a pen, normally I love that pairing. But for some reason, the ink that I chose, I do find this writes a little bit like a fine nib, and I think I put too much of a lighter ink in there. So that will be changed today. The next pen inked up is another pen that I picked up at the London Pen Show, and so I picked this up with the Christmas Carol 2022 prototype, and this is I already have the solid silver version of this. This is the Platinum Jubilee pen, but this is the resin, and it is the overlay. So this is the overlay here. It's on a resin cap that you can see, but this is really quite beautiful. And you've got this sort of very sort of elegant sort of like pinstripe effect there that's going on. You can feel that texture in your fingers. Now, I did get a number 7 size medium 18 karat gold nib. Now, this I have got a cartridge converter on it. It did come with a plunger, and I am just liking the cartridge converters more. You could post the cap, but for some reason on this one, wait, it's very back weighted, but this cap will not sit. It will just spin and spin. So it's not really, I would say, be designed to post, or at least this version that I have here. but it's a really nice pen. It's a resin pen, so it is lightweight, except for the cap being extremely heavy. The next pen here is a Mr. Cyprus, and this is a Maple in the Forest. I typically call this the Maple Leaf. It's a beautiful pen on an ebonite body, urushi lacquered and maquillé. Beautiful, beautiful canvas here of maple leaves. So I typically just call this the Maple Leaf. Has a very glittery section there. And this comes with a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold Mr. Cyprus nib. These all Mr. Cypruses are all cartridge converters, so you can see that there. But this is a really nice writing pen. You can't post the cap; it's not designed to be posted. But I'll show you in the size of my hand here. It's actually a decent size. So I do like this. Although when I say a decent size, I do prefer the slightly longer Mr. Cyprus pens. I don't know why. I guess I prefer longer, heavier pens. And then the next pen here is the Mr. Cyprus. This is the Eggshell 01. So this is made of duck's eggs. Now, Thatcher and other companies, pen manufacturers, will make them out of quail's eggs. These are made out of duck's eggs. So, as I understand it, duck's eggs, when you crush the shells, the pieces are a little bit larger in size than quail's eggs. But this is a beautiful Raden urushi maquillé pen. You've got the abalone strips there going through the center of the cap and the body. And then you've got the eggshell here on the end. These caps are not designed to be posted because they just will not fit. But you can see this is a good size in my hand. And again, cartridge converter. I got a medium 14 karat gold nib on this one. And I really am liking how that writes. I'd actually say in terms of writing experience, that one is probably one of... I now have, I'm just trying to think, I think I have 8 Mr. Cyprus pens, and that's certainly within the top 3. It's a very nice writer. I'd say this one also is in with the top 3 as well. The next one here is a Mr. Cyprus, and this is the Eggshell 05A. It is duck's eggs, crushed duck's eggs, which are glued back onto the ebonite body and urushi lacquered, along with the abalone shell Raden here. Really quite striking. A very wintry pen, just as in the northern hemisphere we're entering into the winter months. So this, for me, is going to be a pen that I probably will write with a lot. I think also a Christmas New Year pen, because it's got a lot of lovely greeny sort of glitter there. I have got this with a 14 karat gold medium Mr. Cyprus nib. And again, it is a cartridge converter pen. And for me, this is, again, quite a nice writer. So glad that I was able to add that to my collection. Now, the first Mr. Cyprus pen that I ever bought was this one. And this is the Eggshell 06. And again, it is an eggshell, so it's crushed duck's eggs. But you can see that spiral of duck's eggs going around the pen, and with a whole lot of abalone shell stripes or strips, making this pen very, very beautiful. Quite a sparkly pen because of that abalone shell. It does have a slight glitter on the section, but not over the top. Now this one I did get with an 18 karat gold medium nib, Mr. Cyprus nib. Again, all of these are cartridge converter pens. The cap will not post, but this is a beautiful pen. So that was my first one of Mr. Cyprus I picked up. The last one at this moment in time that I've picked up is this one. And this is an absolute stunner. This is the Mr. Cyprus Raden Dragon. And I just want to show you this up close. All of this is abalone shell that has been carved into pieces to put together this stunning dragon here. It really is a work of art, and I have to say that it's not a cheap pen, but I will be looking at some of the other ones that Mr. Cypress have, because this is really beautiful. Again, I got this with a 14 karat gold nib, Mr. Cypress nib, medium nib. It does have a little bit of abalone shell here on the section. I have to say, if there was a part of the design of this pen that I'm not as 100% with, it would be this on the section. I think they could have done something a little bit better there. Maybe put some of the wind or something there on the section. But I like the pen. It's a beautiful pen. But as I said, it's not cheap. And I did and ah over this, because the Mr. Cypress pens are really good works of art. And they're actually a really good value if you compare it to other pens like Danny Trio, like Thatcher. And I bought the others because they were a really good price, and I thought that they were well worth it. If I wanted to sell them, I could easily regain what I paid for them. This one was a lot more though, but I do think it was worth it. It's a beautiful work of art, and although I have a number of Urushi pens and Macchie pens now, and some of them are really quite exquisite, I'd say this one probably has the most amount of detail in any of those pens. So I really do like that pen. So there you have it. That's my Currently Inked pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So I think let's now ink up these pens. So this is the Anoto, and it is the Cult Pens Christmas Carol 2021. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I'll apologise that I am down with a cold at the moment. I did come back from the London Pen Show with COVID as well. It's obviously been a lot longer now since coming back from that. But I am down with a cold now. So it is the cold season, unfortunately. And I'm sure we'll be seeing more of this, of colds and COVID. This is the Anoto, and it's the Cult Pens. And this is the Christmas Carol 2021. And this I got with a broad steel nib, and I am loving this nib so much. I probably am not going to swap this one out for a gold nib. The ink in here is a Cult Pens exclusive, and it's Vinter. And it's whiskey gold, and I want to say that I think I got 4 bottles of that now. I might even have 5. I probably need to have a look at that, but yes, I do have a lot of Vinter whiskey ink there, and I'm just having a quick look in my database, just to see if I can see Vinter. Oh, actually, I've got 6 bottles. How you forget sometimes. Yeah, I think I bought 2 bottles originally. No, I bought 1 bottle, and I think I bought another 5. So yes, I got a lot of ink on that one. The next pen inked up here is the Anoto Christmas Carol 2022, and this is the prototype. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a different green that it used to be a green that I used to ink up a lot. And I've gone for a different green more lately, but I decided to go back to this one. So this is the Anoto, and it's the Christmas Carol 2022 prototype. And I don't think I actually mentioned this actually earlier on. When it's a year 2022, the Christmas Carol edition from Anoto, there's only 22 made. In 23, there'll be 23 made. Normally there's a couple of prototypes, and this is the second prototype. I got this with a medium 18 karat gold nib. Really loving how this nib writes. And then the ink I actually put in here, I've been going with Diamine Meadow a lot, and I decided I would do Diamine Apple Glory in this one. It is a P, not an R. Dave, and having problems spelling at this moment in time, but there you go. It's Apple Glory there. The next pen inked up is the Anoto Magna Classic in the Chased Amber. So we'll do an ink swatch on this one. And really loving this. And I think I bought this pen. It has an 18 karat gold nib. I bought this for a really good price from Roy at Izod's. So this is the Anoto Magna Classic. And it is the Chased Amber. And it was such a good price. It actually made the 18 karat gold nib. It was almost the price of what you would get it for with a steel nib. And this is a medium 18 karat gold. And again, I love how this nib writes. And then the ink in here is Herban or J Herban. And it's Ambre de Bermanie. But that is a beautiful ink. Really loving it in that pen. I think it's going to be one that will be dedicated to that pen. The next pen inked up is the Anoto, and this is the Great Roof. This is a resin version of it. I also have the silver version as well. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is an interesting ink. It's lighter than the previous ink that I put in this pen, that I previously inked it up with. So this is the Anoto, and it is the Great Roof. And just looking, it's a medium 18 karat gold nib on this one. It doesn't write as nice as the other ones. I would say it's a little bit more of a crisp metallic on this one. And I have smoothed it out a little bit. So it's writing better. I think actually I bought this with a steel nib, and I put the crisp metallic medium 18 karat gold nib in from one of my other pens, which actually I have here on the side. Actually, is the chased green, and so that's probably why I think probably I might actually buy an 18 karat gold nib for this one, and yeah, just because it will write better, I think. So this is the ink in here is Lamy, and it is Mango. And I did talk about this story before, where I bought the chased green or jade from Roy Izod's, and the previous owner had ground the nib to a crisp metallic, which I did not like. Unfortunately, removed most of the tipping. I managed to improve the nib massively, but I still couldn't get it back to obviously what a normal nib would be like, because they removed most of the tipping. So I probably will. I had that nib lying around because I got this with a steel nib, so I swapped the nibs out, and I probably will buy another 18 karat gold nib on that one. The next pen here is the Anoto Platinum Jubilee. Now this is the overlay. I've got the solid silver version, so we're doing an ink swatch here, and I was just wondering what ink this was actually, but I've now just remembered what it is. So this is the Anoto, and it's the Platinum Jubilee, and it's the overlay. Overlay being the silver on the cap, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib, and the ink in here is a Diamine Graphite, which is a nice ink, and I have to say it's my go-to grey is Diamine Earl Grey, but I'm really liking this Diamine Graphite now. So the next pen inked up is this one. It's a Mr. Cyprus Maple in the Forest, or I typically call it Maple Leaf. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a 14 karat gold nib, Mr. Cyprus nib. It's actually made by Canwrite with a K in India. And I have to say, it writes more like a steel nib to me. But it is a gold nib. And you do find that with some gold nibs. It's quite firm. It's not bouncy or flexy. So this is the Mr. Cyprus. And it's, I'm going to call it Maple Leaf here because that's typically what I call it myself. And it's a medium 14 karat gold nib. I like the writing experience. I just think that it, to me, writes a little bit more like a steel nib than a 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is actually the same as this one. It's Herban. And it is Ambre de Bermanie. Now, this is a sort of ambery, orangey coloured ink. So it will typically write a little bit drier, and maybe if I had a broad nib in that, it would write better. It might be if I change ink, it might write better, and may just make it feel more like a gold nib. It is just a rigid nib though. The next pen here inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And I like this pen. I think it writes a little bit between a medium and a broad, even though it's a medium nib. I love the colour of the ink, and I think it flows really well in this pen. So this is a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Aji Sei, and I've got several bottles of this ink. I am worried that the Pilot might actually strike this ink off. I don't know how well it sells. I probably will be looking at getting maybe another bottle or two because that ink I do like a lot. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A. And there was an A and there was a B model. And we'll do an ink swatch here. So I've got this inked up with a green ink, mostly because the abalone shell is a little bit more on the greener sort of colour in this pen, I would say. It's more green than other colours. So this is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib again. And the ink in here is Rohrer and Klinger, and it's Verdura, which is a nice green ink, one I have been liking this year. And I did buy, I think, a couple more bottles of that as well. The next pen inked up is the Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06, which was the first Mr. Cypress that I bought. And this I did get with an 18 karat, not a 14 karat gold nib. Now, I do find that this nib writes a little bit fine and a little bit dry. I think the reason for the dryness is more the ink than the nib itself. So this is a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06. It's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here is Pelican, Edelstein, Appetite, which I might change over time. However, I do like it inked up in this pen, and I have been re-inking that many times. And then the last pen we got inked up here is the Mr. Cypress Raden Dragon. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this, again, is a nice colour ink. I'm just going to double check that because I think I know what ink it is, but I'm also just now doubting myself. So the Raden Dragon, yeah, it is the ink that I thought it was. Okay, that's fine. So, because I've bought a number of grey inks recently. So this is the Mr. Cypress Raden Dragon. I wondered if I'd maybe put a different ink in here. It's a medium and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And the ink in here again is diamine graphite. I have bought a number of newer grey inks, and I think I inked one up in a pen, and I do need to ink the others up as well and give them a good try. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have an Anoto Cult Pens Christmas Carol 2021 in a broad steel nib inked up with Vinter Whiskey Gold. We have an Anoto Christmas Carol 2022 prototype in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Apple Glory. We have an Anoto Magna Classic Chased Amber in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Raden Amber de Burmanie. We have an Anoto Great Roof in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Lamy Mango. We have an Anoto Platinum Jubilee overlay in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Graphite. We have a Mr. Cypress Maple Leaf in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Raden Amber de Burmanie. And you can see the difference between these two, that they are a slightly different sort of shade of colour depending on the nib width and how wet it writes. The next pen inked up we've got is a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 01 in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Washizuku Ajuse. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 05A in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Raw and Klinger Verdura. We have a Mr. Cypress Eggshell 06 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican, Edelstein, Appetite. And then we have a Mr. Cypress Raden Dragon in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Graphite. So there you have it. That's my Currently Inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.